Fostering Ethical Guidance in Finance, Cultivating Trustworthiness and Upholding Moral Values. And to do so, I request Mr. Krishna Praveen Polavaram, Senior Vice President, Head of Finance, Accounting and Facilities, Berkadia, to please come upon. A very big round of applause for him, everyone. Mr. Praveen serves as a Senior Vice President overseeing the Finance and Accounting Risk Management Divisions for India. Mr. Polavaram has over 23 years of finance and accounting experience in business process outsourcing, IT and ITES, and he has been instrumental in designing various internal policies, incorporating internal financial controls. In his current role, he has strategized and played a key role on transfer pricing matters for Berkadia. A very big round of applause for him, everyone.
Once again, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much, Gain Skills, for this wonderful opportunity. Very interesting topic, right? Ethics. So, can I ask a quick question to all of you? How many of you have more than 10 years of work experience? So, almost maybe 80% of the population. I know that group I'm not touching, less than 5 years probably. But most of you have more than 10 years of experience, and I'm sure we all in fact have been practicing ethics in our day-to-day life. So, if I calculate 50 into at least 10 years of experience, 500 plus years of ethics experience we all have. Can you imagine that? Do we still need to discuss about ethics? We have to. I think even after our retirement or even after a century, I think this is going to be a continuous and very important topic, because maybe only 1% or 2% of the people who create the trouble on the ethics front. That's where I think we will continue to discuss and talk about ethics forever, I believe. And I'm just trying to list down few very bad or worse scandals, financial frauds happened in the history of the world, finance world. So you all know Enron or Lehman Brothers, WorldCom, Tyco, you name it. I have listed only few. Can anybody guess what kind of fraud, what kind of numbers we are talking about? Any guess? Is it in millions? Billions of dollars were in literally soup, and the company had to go and file for bankruptcy. Imagine after these kind of scandals, what's the next step? You lose your complete reputation. So why ethics is important? Ultimately, if the company is not following ethics and trying to do some unethical practices, and unfortunately I'll tell you, some of these companies which I listed, who was doing the unethical practices? Can you guess? Anyone? CFO? No, we are not doing, right? So we can be a little careful and we can talk about it openly. So unfortunately, CFO knows what's happening and the CEOs know, and some of the team members also know it, right? You cannot do 100 billions or billions of frauds with nobody's notice. So I think what I'm trying to stress is very clearly, ethics is an extremely important element in any company's future, because it is totally going to damage the reputation of the organization. And what about the investors? Investors are going to just disappear, I'm telling you. A lot of startups need to be extremely careful. Unless they are really good at ethics, they are trying to follow ethics, I think they will continue to face challenges, they may disappear. We talked about bigger companies, they just disappeared because of unethical practices. So it is extremely important, and see the moral of the employees. Once the company is in the news that there is an unethical practice, they are in the news, the stock anyhow hits the rock bottom, and the employees' moral is out, and you will see a lot of attrition. Anyhow, those are going to be side effects of any unethical practices in a company. But if some company, before I get into that, is ethics important only in finance profession? In any profession, in fact, can a doctor, can an engineer, can they just do their activities with some of the unethical practices? Yes or no? They have to. Every individual will have to follow ethics in every profession. Thanks to COVID, I think We have seen lot of hospitals being discussed, what kind of practices they had. I don't have any exact information, but people suffered. So it is always extremely important to follow some of the ethical practices in our day-to-day life, which will really help not only us, even for the companies to succeed in the long term. Otherwise, they can just disappear. So quickly, I spoke about some of the companies who went through a lot of scandals, and what were the major issues they faced in the form of scandals. One of the major issue was overstatement of, these are the pretty common scandals we have seen in the history. Revenue was overstated, and manipulation of stocks it can be disclosures issue or money laundering. And in one of the cases I have seen, I was shocked to see, CFO was distributing lot of huge bonuses to their employees, and finally when they filed for bankruptcy, they had to literally recover those bonuses as well from the employees, which is not easy, but luckily in that case it happened. And we continue to see in most of the cases wherever frauds are happening, it also includes illegal payments, wrong invoice submission. So that's how they try to increase the overall expenditure and ultimately the revenue of the organization also. And some of the unethical practices we touched a little bit. Disclosure violations. We want to keep it, ideally we should keep everything transparent, but when they really want to hide something, they do not disclose it to the investors or the shareholders. But suddenly one fine day things come out and the collapse and the issues start coming out in no time. So what's our role? I'm talking about CFOs. What's our role in this present scenario or in the future scenario? How can we ensure that good ethical practices are being followed by each and every company, in India or in the world? So basically, one important element is going to be lead by example. I'm as a CFO or SVP of the company, or your CFO of the company, we are telling the team members that we need to follow ethics. But at the end of the day, we are just, what we are doing is we are misusing the company assets. In front of your employee, probably you're trying to misuse the company assets. You're using the company transportation for personal reasons, or you're using company assets as well. So what kind of example it will set? Employees will think, okay, you can speak. Anyhow, my boss says, but he never follows, even I will not follow. So I think leading by example is extremely important. If you are not going by the walk the talk, it's really going to create a bad culture in the organization, and employees will not trust us. And another important aspect I strongly believe is speaking up culture. If we do not have the culture of speaking up, what happens is employees will see. We spoke about some of the issues, right? In that company, maybe 10 people knew about those incidents, but they were scared or they're worried about their future, or what will happen to my future, my job. So they kept their mouth shut. And literally what happened, even in India we had those incidents. I'm not touching those company names as of now. But I think if we are able to create a good work environment and also speak up culture, that will really help in avoiding these kind of surprises in the future. So how would you do that? We say open door. Literally you should be available to really, the management should be available to listen to the people. If you are not creating that environment, employees will not come to you and tell you where the mistake is happening, where things are going wrong. So please underline it, which is a very important one. And what I feel strongly is education and training. Reminding our employees about ethics and importance of the ethics, it will help, I can strongly say, because somebody, at least the 1% or 1 person out of 1,000 people who's trying to do something, with the training, with the awareness, probably that person will stop doing it. There are chances, I'm telling you, it is very much proved in a survey or whatever I have read through. If you're creating that environment in the organization, people will really stop doing those activities. And sometimes it is very important what kind of example we are setting. Okay, somebody is stealing a laptop. What should we do? One guess. You found that person through CCTV or whatever. No answers. We don't do anything. After that, actually, what kind of solution it is going to be? Ideally, he or she should be fired, right? There is no second thought. If you have any second thoughts, please, you need to really discuss with your ethics team and have a proper meeting, what kind of ethics structure you have and how to treat. Because you need to set right examples in the organization. There is no second chance on integrity and values. That's what I strongly believe. And even Berkadia believes it, I can tell you. So encouraging the people, somebody is speaking up, somebody is talking about, okay, some incidents are happening in the organization, we should really encourage them, maybe incentivize, say that, okay, this guy is really standing very good on the values, appreciate in the organization, so that culture will spread across the organization. So there are other important areas like, we can also create some internal audits so that we are understanding, so we already go through statutory, internal, another audit. Maybe depends on the kind of setup you have. If you still have a lot of manual stuff, there are chances maybe some unethical practices can come into picture. See, if there is a need, we can always incorporate some other ethical audits in the company. And whistleblower, every company has, but what I have observed is a lot of employees do not even know the number, do not even know the email IDs. So we need to ensure that those details are displayed in your cafeterias, common places, so that employees are aware that, okay, if there is some incident, unethical incident is happening in the organization, there is a forum, there is a number to report, and they are going to take care. Because these things are usually extremely confidential. Nobody knows what's happening after that, but the action is mostly taken. I think I can skip this. So some damage happened in the organization, then what should we do? So some of the strategies and initiatives to rebuild trust with the stakeholders. So I think it's very important to acknowledge that something happened. It is extremely important. Instead of saying that, okay, something is in the news, some people are discussing, if it is very much open, it is always important, acknowledge it and stop the, probably, instead of beating around the bush, and people will continue to speak about it. So instead of that, just acknowledge it, take the responsibility, that may really help. And be very transparent in your communication, whether it is going to be to SEC or maybe within your organization to employees. That will really build some confidence, okay, the company is giving the right answers, right directions. Every company is customer focused, right? So the most important thing is going to be, you need to ensure that you are not losing the customers. If you are losing the customers, they will not come back, because these kind of scandals or incidents will make your customers to disappear in a short time. So I think we already touched a little bit, we should demonstrate more ethical practices. We should ensure that people understand and take these things very seriously. So another aspect could be, focus on your products and services as well. How are your products and services? Can you increase the quality in the tough scenario, tough situation? Maybe that will keep your customers with you, and you may also gain some more new customers as well. And in some situations, it may be helpful in case if you do a third-party verification. You have other internal teams, risk management teams communicating, talking about it. But maybe you can call somebody, okay, we have corrected our books, we have got it audited, keep it open, publish it, so that you regain the confidence of your customers, investors, and also extremely important one is employees. Any questions? Happy to take. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Thanks a lot. Thank you.